Want to say a shout out to all my fans out there. What up, guys? It's the boy Andrew Rayburn, mixing, mastering extraordinaire. And we have some new stuff that we're going to do today. Mixing Afro vibes. I'm going to show you how we create that kind of R&B midnight vibe. So let me kick in the bass here. So we're blending things up today with a little bit of dance hall, a little bit of Afro vibes pumping here. That's how we do it. And shout out to all my fans out there. So let me get some movement going here. And it's very important to know how to carry your vibe in a mix. So let me bring in some vocals here. Very simple steps, and we get things pumping here.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio. So me I call you, yo. Me want to talk to you, talk to you.
So let's get right into it.
So much lonely girls in the world.
Shout out to you guys.
Let me tell you what I want.
Pristine Production Online.
She lonely. Yes, she lonely. She tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her life. She lonely. It's not funny.
Let's take a look at the mixer
She
when
want
here.
peace and joy. A real love that could never destroy. Night after night she cry.
I want to shout out to all my friends in Florida, New York, around the world.
Baby girl, me not hurt you.
Always support
Listen
me.
to the Scorpio.
Shout out to all the artists, all the producers.
Me I call you, yo. Me want to talk to you, yo, yo.
So let's get back down into it, mixing Afro vibes. So how did I create this this kind of vibe here? This is the thing a lot of producers struggle with. They have an idea in their head, but there's a little bit of struggle to bring out the sound. Now I will say this is very key, guys, that you I'm not saying you're supposed to be a highly advanced musician, but it's very key that you know a little bit basics in creating notes and chords, because even a simple notation like this right here, minors and majors. Some people would press like one key and they wonder why the rhythm's not fat, it's not full. You might need to make sure you're holding down the chords right. So a shout out to those that are doing the basics as well. So it's very key. Being a musician is a plus. I wanted this kind of midnight vibe here. The song is talking about a lonely girl, and she's looking for that right man in her life. And you want that kind of nice midnight, just like, you get in from work, and you just got home, you're tired, you want to lay back in that bed and just do a little bit of vibe, And this is where the guitar comes. A little bit of lead sound, and I have the bass line, and that's the vibe right there. So let me get down into it here. The first thing I did, and this is what I want you guys to learn here. This is going to be the foundation here. I'm going to turn on inserts. So we started off with this sound here. You want to make sure you pick a nice sound that has a nice tone to it. Now, this doesn't sound too bad by itself without reverb, but we want to create that kind of sad kind of vibe kind of thing. So, first thing I went to is the EQ here. So what I went ahead and did, I went ahead and took off some of the bottom end here. And notice what I took off the bottom end, I boosted a little bit of 5K, a little bit of 11K to give it a little bit of guts. EQ off, a little bit dull. Listen to how the top is open up, so there's a little bit tighter sound here. You want that in your dance hall in an Afro beat. And I didn't stop there, added a little reverb here. This is a big reverb, by the way. I'm currently using the church mode. Let me cut off a little bit of the top end. Now it might sound a little bit weird right there, but check this out when I combine it with the guitar. Let's back off a little bit on the center of the reverb. Right about there. Notice this guitar here is not doing a lot of things, just a little bit of strum here. It's like a melodious vibe, and that's getting in the way. It's not getting in the way of the pluck here. So by having each element play a certain groove, it's fitting in, guys. You want to make sure your sound fit. Just don't just go and try to hurry grab a sound and put it together and feel like, oh, why does it sound like it's clashing or something? The guitar is playing, it's not getting in the way of the pluck. The pluck is keeping a nice groove, and that's what you want to do. And then I bring in the third sound here. That's right there. Da, 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 da. And I'm using a reverb to push it a little bit back on the guitar here, because I want to talk a little bit about mixing here. On the guitar here, off, reverb off. Now check this out. This guitar came with some reverb, but I wanted a bigger reverb, so I'm adding 2 here. Yes, I'm adding 2, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. So there's nothing wrong with adding the reverb here. So let's go ahead and get that part there fixed here. So we want to add a little bit of top end here. So I'm using a little bit of 5K. Listen to the dynamics here. This is what I'm taking out. Taking that out. I feel like what's getting in the way. Add a little bit more reverb. Just again giving a little bit of back wall. I have a compressor here. Let's see what I'm doing with this compressor. It's side chained actually. And let's see who is sending the side chain. Somebody is sending the side chain or not. Okay, I think I just left the side chain. Let's take off the side chain. We're gonna do a little bit of compression here. I'm gonna take up the threshold. I'm gonna bring down threshold a little bit, so we can control the guitar a little bit. Now, I don't recommend doing this solo. Let's bring in the pluck, so we don't lose the place of the guitar here. Let's bring down the threshold. Let's bring up the volume that we lost, makeup gain. bypass. We're gonna back off on the ratio a little bit. We want to let more dynamics come through. Soften up the attack a little bit here. Okay, that's sounding better here. Let's bring in the lead sound. So all I'm doing with this third lead sound here is just adding a little bit of clarity, that's all. Now let's go to the bass. Check this out. I'm taking off a little bit of 80 here, and I'm taking out a little bit of 330, so we can get a little bit more mid-range on the bass. Right about here. That's what I'm pushing up without. Right now the bass is muffled. We want that bass to stand out. So a little bit of low end we take off, a little bit of 330. It opens up the bass here, and that's what we want here. Bring in the vocals. Here's the lead here.
Let me tell you what I want now. She lonely. Yes, she lonely. She tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her life. She lonely. It's not funny. She want peace and joy.
Let's bring in the kick drum, the hi-hats, and the snares here. Let's do that.
So much lonely girls in the world. Let me tell you what I want now. She lonely. Yes, she lonely. She tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her life. She lonely. It's not funny. She want peace and joy. I real love them could I never destroy.
Now, how did I get the vocals to be there? You want to make sure you have a good top end here. But what I'm doing with the vocals is I'm sending it through the reverb here. I'm going to turn off the sends here. I'm going to isolate just the bass here. I have some live drums with this sound as well because I wanted that kind of dancehall, soca kind of R&B thing.
So much lonely girls in the world.
So this is what I'm doing.
Let me tell you what I want now. She lonely. Yes, she lonely. She tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her.
I want to shout out to Peppy Squint. Peppy Squint, forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong, but shout out. So what's the question here?
Her life.
Keep the question coming. I so appreciate that question.
She lonely.
Is too much low end bad? Like for 808, should you cut some of the lows or different? For this project, for this type of bass. Now for this type of bass here, pretty much we're in 2020 here, and music has changed. This is not 1996. So whether you're dealing with 808s or dealing with afro, acoustic bass, this first thing you have to do, the first thing you got to do with the bass, I want you to listen to the bass. Listen to the bass. This is without the EQ. Now assess this bass. A bass needs to be balanced at all times. Very rarely do they come to you already pre-mixed, pre-packed. Just fling them in the track and you're good to go. And this goes for 808s as well. Now you want to make sure everything is fat. So to answer your question is definitely you got to cut off some of the lower end, even for the 808. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to be cutting off 80. Can you hear the difference? 80 is now cut from this bass. EQ off. You hear a little bit more heaviness. 80 off. And the reason why I cut 80, because if you go above 80, you're going to lose the power of the bass. Generally, underneath 80, a little bit under 80, you still retain most of the bottom end, so it cleans up the mix here. And I'm adding 2K to give you that more meat. Now, if I wanted, I could experiment with about 200. Since we've cut the low end, we can pump some of the 200 in. But that frequency there is kind of getting a little muffled. It's like where we started first. Now, the reason why we cut 80, of course, we don't want too much about it. Let's back off a little bit. In this particular bass here, I felt it was a little too much. Maybe I go back to about 6 just to get maybe 7 just to get a little bit more bottom. Because when you bring in the kick drum, you up. So back to the vocals here.
Nights, she want a real man in her life. She lonely.
And thank you for that question. Remember, guys, this is the time to let me know what's your thoughts, what you're struggling with, what's the challenge here.
It's not funny.
So I'm sending the vocals here to the reverb.
She want peace and joy. I real love that could I never destroy.
I'm using a bass, so when the vocal cuts through the reverb, it delays that time before it bounces back.
Hey. Night after night she cry.
Hear that ping pong delay from waves, giving me a little bit more sense of width here.
Yes, she lonely. She tired.
And I'm going to be sending that to the doubler here.
Tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her life. She lonely. It's not funny. She want.
By itself, you might hear a little bit too much, but in the mix, great.
Peace and joy.
And then the other one, I'm using the GTR mix delay to get a little bit more farther.
Real love that could I never destroy. Night after night she cry.
If I bring in the rest of the drums here.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to this.
If I'm using the welcome back, guys. Yeah, if I'm using the electric drum by itself. Now the first sample kick here. Check what I'm doing. I'm doing opposite of the bass. I cut a little bit of 80 now. I'm boosting a little bit of 50 here, just to get a little bit more thump. I'm boosting a little bit of 2K here, so I can get some definition. And I'm bringing the live drums. Let me bring in the hi-hats here. And when both are combined, I'm getting that big, hard-hitting drums in your face sound. Bring in the bass.
She want peace and joy. I real love that could I never destroy. Night after night she cry.
Now, in order to make both of the kick drum and the live drum kit work, I'm taking off a little bit of 40 here on the left up, and now we can bring in the main boards here. And there you have that full sound. So what was missing was the two more synthesizers here. Let's bring it back from the beginning here.
So much lonely girls in the world. Let me tell you what I want now. She lonely. Yes, she lonely. She tired.
Let's bring in the main synth.
Night after night she cry.
Now, what I'm doing with the main power synth here, I'm using SSL channel strip here. I'm taking off about 120. I don't need all the big bottom end. Most of the power is coming from the mid-range up, like up to 300 K, 300 go up. And I'm boosting actually for 423 at 480. Listen to the difference when I engage the SSL. It brings the synthesizer a little bit more in front of your face. We're doing a little bit of 3D mixing here. 400 out. Synthesizer kind of get a little bit thin on. Bring it more to in front of you.
Funny. She want peace and joy. I real love that could I never destroy. Night after night she cry.
So you want to make sure, if you want sounds to get a little bit warm, you want to make sure that try the 400 area or the 400 area or the 300. And by the way, guys, this entire mix right now is coming through the SSL from the waves. This is giving you that body and glue.
So much lonely girls in the world.
And this is the reason why the pros put the bus compressor, they mix into the bus compressor, so you want to get that, that glue feel already. So I'm doing about over a dB of reduction here, a fast release. I'm setting the 4:1 ratio here, so I'm getting basically limiter mode. The compressor is more behaving like a limiter.
Can't call it tonight.
Let me tell you what I want now. She lonely, yes she lonely. She tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her life. She lonely, it's not funny.
You can hear the snap from the compressor.
She want peace and joy. I real love that could I never destroy. Night after night she cry.
Do I mix with compressors on the mix bus all the time? Most of the time, yes. Sometimes I do without. It depends if the individual instruments is already punchy. But generally, 99% of the time boils down to slapping a master bus compressor on your mix.
Baby girl, me not hurt you.
And of course, with that big delay effect that you're hearing there, like I said, I'm using the GTR. Experiment with guitar pedals and analog delays. You get some nice authentic, put a little bit of distortion there on it. Let me go to that part.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio.
There you can hear a little bit of distortion. I'm going to turn up the distortion a little bit here. First of all, let me go ahead and make sure that that track is actually active. Okay, let's play it.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio.
Now you can hear a little bit more of it here. So if I play it with the bass and a little bit of the pad here, let's see how that sounds.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio. So me I call you, yo. Me want talk to you, yo, yo.
Let's see how it sounds in the context of the mix.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio. So me I call you, yo. Me want talk to you, yo, yo.
Notice that before we brought in those other plucks, it sounded like we had a little bit too much distortion on the delay, or it was a little bit too present, but actually sounds good when you bring in the rest of the mix. So let's see how it sounds in the entire mix just for that part there. So don't be easily fooled if you're not checking these things in the context. Here we go.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio. So me I call you, yo. Me want talk to you, yo, yo. So much lonely girls in the world.
I'm gonna back off just a little bit here.
Can't call tonight.
Let me tell you what I want now. She lonely. Yes, she lonely. She tired of the sleepless nights. She want a real man in her life. She lonely.
Let's get back to that verse there. Let's do the delay.
Baby girl, me not hurt you. Listen to the Scorpio. So me I call you, yo. Me want talk to you, yo, yo.
So I'm gonna stop there, guys. That's how we mix Afro vibe mixing there. Getting everything fat in your face. So we learn the tricks of getting these instruments to stand out. Remember to always gain stage. Remember to always check your bus compressor on the chain. Followed by a little bit of limiting here. And support me, guys, on my website. Support me on YouTube. Want me to mix and master for you? I charge a reasonable rate. Catch you guys on the next one.
So me I call you, yo. Me want talk to you, yo, yo.
So I'm gonna stop there for today, guys. Thank you for being some wonderful, being wonderful audience. This is mixing Afro vibes, and I want to shout out to all the fans. Thank you so much for supporting this channel here. So we'll catch you guys on the next.